Men are not prisoners of fate, but only prisoners of their own minds.
Repetition does not transform a lie into a truth.
A conservative is a man with two perfectly good legs who, however, has never learned how to walk forward.
It is an unfortunate human failing that a full pocketbook often groans more loudly than an empty stomach.
If you treat people right, they will treat you right 90% of the time.
Confidence thrives on honesty, on honor, on the sacredness of obligations, on faithful protection, and on unselfish performance. Without them it cannot live.
Let us not be afraid to help each other. Let us never forget that government is ourselves and not an alien power over us. The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not a president, and senators, and congressmen, and government officials, but the voters of this country.
We must lay hold of the fact that economic laws are not made by nature. They are made by human beings.
War is a contagion.
The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Let us move forward with strong and active faith.
Self-interest is the enemy of all true affection.
If civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples, of all kinds, to live together, in the same world at peace.
Peace, like charity, begins at home.
There is a mysterious cycle in human events. To some generations much is given. Of other generations much is expected. This generation of Americans has a rendezvous with destiny.
People acting together as a group can accomplish things, which no individual acting alone could ever hope to bring about.
Freedom of speech is of no use to a man who has nothing to say, and freedom of worship is of no use to a man who has lost his God.
A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor.
As a nation, we may take pride in the fact that we are soft-hearted, but we cannot afford to be soft-headed.
The true conservative seeks to protect the system of private property and free enterprise, by correcting such injustices and inequalities as arise from it. The most serious threat to our institutions comes from those who refuse to face the need for change. Liberalism becomes the protection for the far-sighted conservative.
The truth is found when men are free to pursue it.
Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education.
There are many ways of going forward, but only one way of standing still.
Take a method and try it. If it fails, admit it frankly, and try another. But by all means, try something.
We have always held to the hope, the belief, the conviction that there is a better life, a better world, beyond the horizon.
Be sincere, be brief, be seated.
When you come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on.
A government can be no better than the public opinion which sustains it.
This great nation will endure, as it has endured, will revive, and will prosper.
Remember always, that all of us, and you, and I especially, are descended from immigrants and revolutionists.
In these days of difficulty, we Americans everywhere must, and shall choose the path of social justice, the path of faith, the path of hope, and the path of love toward our fellow man.
Nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote, except the American people themselves, and the only way they could do this is by not voting.
There are as many opinions as there are experts.
We are a nation of many nationalities, many races, many religions bound together by a single unity, the unity of freedom and equality. Whoever seeks to set one nationality against another, seeks to degrade all nationalities.
A nation that destroys its soils destroys itself. Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air and giving fresh strength to our people.
I think, we consider too much the good luck of the early bird, and not enough the bad luck of the early worm.
Favor comes, because for a brief moment in the great space of human change, and progress some general human purpose finds in him a satisfactory embodiment.
In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet, it was planned that way.
We must especially beware of that small group of selfish men, who would clip the wings of the American eagle, in order to feather their own nests.
We would rather die on our feet, than live on our knees.
No man can tame a tiger into a kitten by stroking it.
It isn't sufficient just to want, you've got to ask yourself what you are going to do to get the things you want.
We have always known that heedless self-interest was bad morals. We now know that it is bad economics.
I ask you to judge me, by the enemies I have made.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance.
Never underestimate a man who overestimates himself.
We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future.
Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear.
Democracy alone, of all forms of government, enlists the full force of men's enlightened will.
Happiness lies not in the mere possession of money, it lies in the joy of achievement, in the thrill of creative effort.
The virtues are lost in self-interest, as rivers are lost in the sea.
Human kindness has never weakened the stamina, or softened the fiber of a free people. A nation does not have to be cruel to be tough.
The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, it is whether we provide enough for those who have too little.